afternoon. What's popping and how are the girls doing? Good? Not good. You're feeling a little depressy? You know what, bitch? I've been there. I have. I feel like I was depressed most of my 20s, actually. People love to say your 20s are the best years of your life. They also said that shit about high school, though, and that was a blatant lie. People are always like, would you go back to high school? No. Never. I'd never do it. But people say that about your 20s, too. And to be honest, now that I'm in my last year of my 20s have been some of the most ghetto, funky ass times, funky not in a good way, that I've ever had. Now, obviously, there were some really, really great moments. You know, every let me think of an analogy that works. I can't think of one. But there's always, you know, some good in the shit. I feel like I lost not most of my 20s, but a really good chunk of my 20s to extremely poor mental health, depression, other bullshit, honestly. Well, I think the bullshit part is honestly probably pretty normal, but some very poor mental health. Which sucks. It really sucks. I mean, there's not a whole lot I could have done about it. I think a lot of it is genetic, runs in my family, and some other stuff I just didn't have any control over. Thumbs down to that. How dare you pass down, not generational wealth, generational depression. I'm on my way to be my grandparents' ass right now. But I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did. So here are just a couple of things that I did to kind of help mitigate my depression in my 20s, because it was bad. There was a time that it was so severe that things weren't looking good at all, if you know what I mean. Okay, first thing, don't spend all of your college days worried about making money. I feel like I was always so worried about making money that I let it consume everything else. I passed up a whole lot of opportunities, whether it was like an extracurricular activity or a meeting for a group that I was really interested in the work that they were doing, and I pushed it away. You know, just let those opportunities go to go work at a job that I hated because I was so concerned about making money. It's a very fine line to walk whenever you get a job and you actually start making money and you don't have like bills yet. So you're like, oh my god, money, I need to just make as much as I can whenever I can. But these other experiences are also super important too. Like, I wish I'd have done more stuff in college. I wouldn't stay late because I was like, oh, I gotta get to work. I gotta go make this bag. Now, mind you, the bag was $8 an hour. So it was a little bag, but it was a bag nonetheless. Did I say I hated that job? I hated that fucking job. And it's not like I was even getting internship experience, or something that would actually be useful. It was just like a retail job. The fuck. Obviously, some people can't help it. They have to work. They have to pay for themselves to live. They have to pay for their student loans. They have to pay for whatever they need to pay for. You know, put food on the table, and that's not fair. But if you can help it, I hope you actually do live some life and have some fun while you're in college or in your early 20s. Don't spend it all grinding. I know people are like, oh, you're young, make the money while you can make it. But again, you're young. Why don't you go live your life while you have the time, before you have kids, before you have a significant other, before you have a really serious job tying you down? Go out and live your fucking life. Please, I beg. Go to therapy. Go to therapy. It took me a long time to get into therapy. I was really scared and nervous. Sometimes I don't actually want to take the time to do things that I know will make me and my life better, because I'm just like, it's out of my routine, it's different, it's an extra task added to my plate, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. Calling to make the appointment is annoying. Dealing with the insurance is annoying, even though I desperately really fucking needed to be in therapy. I needed it bad. I don't know why I do that. I don't know why other people do that, put off things that we know are going to be beneficial to us. I don't know. If you can get into therapy, do that. If you're still on your parents' insurance and you're in college and you're struggling, get into therapy. If you can't afford it, I couldn't afford it. But the gag is, that job where I was getting the bag, I was making such a low wage that when Obama expanded Medicaid, I was able to get back on Medicaid. And I went to therapy that way. So, thanks, Obama. I went to therapy. I got medicated, which was much needed. My second therapist sucked ass, but my first therapist was really great, and she helped me work through a lot of things and grow a lot and learn a lot, so it was worth it. She actually, helped me through my first serious relationship and breakup in my 20s. I did crash the fuck out. I did, but I feel like I would have crashed out worse had she not been kind of helping me figure it out and navigate it. I feel like things would have been much worse than they were. So if you are able to go to therapy, by God, please go talk to somebody. And I don't mean like talk space. I mean like an actual in-office person. And there's no need to feel embarrassed about going and talking to this person about something. They literally have confidentiality laws. They can't go tell your business. I mean, technically they could, but they'd lose their license. And is that not karma enough? They're not going and talking about you like, oh, this person's scared of commitment. Oh my God, how embarrassing. Like, it's just not happening. So you may as well go get your therapy in now, you scared ass bitch. And mind you, I'm saying all this with love because I'm really saying it like this. Go to therapy, bitch. You need it. Okay? Take action. That's something that I always have trouble with, even now, which I feel like that's something that I'll be battling for my entire life, is taking action. I am so used to being paralyzed by fear and inconsistency. That's something that I've just always dealt with. And I don't know if anybody else has this problem. I'm sure somebody else has this problem, and I'm not the only one who's like really shooting for the stars, really wants something, like really hungry for it. Like, you're like, I want this, I'm dreaming big, but you're so scared that you're going to fail at it that you just end up doing nothing. And then nothing gets done and there's no motion. There's no motion because you're so scared that you just do nothing. Make that make sense. It's not adding up, is it? So you end up getting nowhere, which sucks, and it can be super, super hard to do anything while you're literally depressed. Trust me, when I was in that stage of like deep, deep, dark depression, oh God. But that's why I'm kind of slowly learning to do things even when I don't want to. Even when I don't want to. Sometimes I'll like mildly depressed. I'm like, I don't even want to get up and get dressed today. I make myself get up and get dressed. I make myself get up and get out of bed, go sit at the kitchen table or something, to kind of, you're not completely getting out of your funk, but you're forcing yourself out of that stinky, depressy little environment. Anxiety has held me hostage. Okay, depression has held me back, where I couldn't do anything but go to work and come home to sleep. Like, there was maybe like a 7-month period of my life where that's literally all I was doing. Going to work, hated it. Literally would get a tension headache as soon as I got to work. I was so anxious. I hated it so much. It was the height of COVID. Things just, I got dumped. My fucking dog died. Like, it was a horrible time. And I would leave from work and just either go straight to sleep or just like lay in bed and cry until it was time for me to go to bed and do it all over again. It was a horrible ass time. And that's when I really needed extreme help. Like, I don't think any of these things that I'm saying could have really helped me completely out of that situation. I think it could have helped to an extent, but I really needed severe help at that point in time. Now it is a little bit easier to push through and kind of break myself out of that before it gets too bad. Bitch, find some friends. Okay, I'm a loner for real. For real. So it's like a little bit harder for me to make IRL friends. I feel like I'm pretty awkward in person. I feel like it's easier to kind of, I don't know, it's just easier kind of online. In person, I feel like there's an obligation to talk and entertain somebody, and I don't necessarily like that, so I'm a little awkward. But just having one good friend can really make a big difference. Someone you can see like once a month, even if it's just like a casual friend. It doesn't even have to be like this type of friend. Someone you can grab food with, or someone you can just sit down and talk with. It's super beneficial. I work from home now, but whenever I do link with somebody, it's very refreshing to get that interaction. Which is honestly crazy to say, because when I worked retail, I really hated a lot of my interactions. But that was also a different setting. But being bombarded with interactions all day made me not want to be surrounded by anybody after work. Like, no, I don't want to hang out. I don't want to talk. I don't want to hear anything. Like, I'm already overwhelmed after working like this fucking 8-hour shift of being spoken to. You know what I mean? And I know I just said to make friends, because they can be really great to like force you into some dopamine, I guess. However, don't be afraid of solitude. And I mean like doing things alone. A lot of my friends don't live in the same city as me. I'm sure that's the case for a lot of people who have kind of like gotten older. Your friends move away for work or for school or whatever. So if there's something I want to do and there's no one to go with, I go to that bitch alone. I go to concerts alone. I go to water parks alone. I go to the mall alone. You come into this world alone unless you're a twin. You'll probably go out alone. And there's nobody else that you spend more time with than yourself. So you may as well get to know yourself and get to like yourself to the best of your ability. And the more you learn about yourself, the more you know what you're willing to tolerate. So I think getting to know yourself is really beneficial in any aspect of life. And finally, my last tip for surviving depression in your 20s: go touch some fucking grass. Did you hear? Go touch some fucking grass. For real. Like, being caged up in your room like a zoo animal doesn't help whenever you're like in a funk. I know rent is high and you want to get your money's worth. I completely feel you on that. Ow. But you need to leave sometime, even if it's just to go sit like in a coffee shop, sit at the park, go to the store. You don't even have to buy anything. Leave the house. take a walk. If anything, you will get a little bit of sunlight, and that literally will boost your mood. Like, it's scientifically proven. Please. So hopefully some of these are helpful. It's just a couple things that I did that helped me when I was depressy. My depression still kind of comes and goes, like it comes in waves, and it's never fully gone, but I am now on a medication regimen that works for me, and I have a routine to help keep that shit to a minimum. So please take some advice, please get some help, please go touch some grass, and please get to know yourself, because it is super helpful in the long run and to help kind of get you out of a depression. Like, I'm not a professional, these are just tips from somebody who's been through it, some tips that kind of helped me. If you want some professional help, go get some. Okay, thanks for watching.